One of the issues that comes up is, can you do it all on the spending side or all on the revenue side? You certainly argue that you need a combination of both. What is the role of, say, tax increases in a deficit reduction plan? Did we do that in the 90s?
There were tax increases in the 1993 budget deal. By the way, that was passed on strictly partisan grounds. It's the only time in modern history that when a party had control of the White House, the Senate, and the House, uh, that they vote to reduce the deficit. Normally, when you have unified government, the deficit goes up. And you can think of Kennedy or Bush 2 or uh, Trump or Biden or Obama in the early years. So that's kind of notable in itself. And there were tax increases there. I think uh, there are a number of good ideas for ways to raise taxes that would not destroy the economy the way the critics like to phrase it. And I think we're going to have to test some of those out. We can't do it all on the spending side. We may not even be able to do a lot of it on the spending side because so much of the spending is either net interest, which we can't do anything about other than default, which is avoiding default is the whole point of all this. And the Social Security and Medicare are big, and Medicaid are big chunks of spending, and those are very popular government initiatives, and they could be trimmed somewhat, and maybe means tested somehow. But the idea that we're going to make major cuts to those forms of spending seems very unlikely. So we're going to need revenues. That's the bad news. The good news is other countries, G7, OECD countries, have substantially higher revenue levels as a share of GDP than we do, but they have the same economic growth rates, with the possible exception that their response to the great financial recession and the COVID were not as bold as ours. But if you look from 1970, say, to 2007, before the crisis, the financial crisis, their tax levels were like 1/3 higher than ours as a share of GDP, and their growth rates were exactly the same, controlling for the population, the working age population. So it's possible to raise taxes in ways that don't hurt the economy, and we need to put those things on the table.